What is up, everyone? You're here with me once again, Zach, on another episode of Hockeytown University, here with the lovely boys, my co-hosts, Matt and Derek. I'm still feeling a little hungover, so boys, tell me how your weekend was so I can
Oh, man, I feel like $1,000,000, Zach. I don't know what the hell happened to you down in Ohio, but I feel like a spring chicken right now. And we definitely did some gallivanting down there, that's for sure, so I guess you don't bounce back as quick when you're 29. I'm still 27, so I guess I have that to look forward to in 2 years. But overall, it was a fantastic weekend. Went to the walleye game. Let's go fish! Let's go fish! And let's go Kosa, man. He looks good. He looks real good. I mean, the game it ended up being a win for the walleye. And Kosa started off pretty shaky. I think he let the first 2 shots in, but after that, he was slamming the door on everyone. There was one guy who got in his crease, and he just shoved him out the way. Like, he literally dwarfed the guy, so I don't know what he thought he was going to do in the crease there. So that was nice to see. And, yeah, overall, it was a very nice weekend down in Holy Toledo land. Very good time. And we will certainly be going back. And that's about all I have on this end.
Well, Leslie, I have no idea what you're talking about because I feel like hell right now. That was a nice long weekend up in TC. Apparently, the only thing you can really do out there is either go out in nature, and it was snowing the whole time. So, of course, we did the other thing you can do up there: go drink. We drink a lot. No, there's no snow for sledding up there. No, it just is a whiteout with nothing on the ground. It was wonderful, wonderful Saturday. The booze made up for it.
Well,
but
really sorry to hear that, buddy. I honestly thought you were a long goner because you were not responding to our text messages, and thank you, Sarah. Yeah. We definitely appreciate the response back. Yeah, for those of you who could not tell, I'm definitely not a big drinker. So, yes, my hangovers basically last for 2 days now. And yes, I am 29 years old now. Yeah, I had a good weekend. You know, thanks for coming out, Leslie, Derek. Wish you could have been there. I also wish I could have been in Traverse City, but maybe next year. That's okay. So, yeah, we're a little late on releasing this episode, so we do want to apologize. Yeah, it was due to having a little too much fun amongst the 3 of us, it seems like. So, but mainly also, you know, I texted the group, and I was like, you know what, let's see how Marco Kasper does in his NHL debut. So this episode will mainly be surrounding the Toronto game, but we will speak on the Carolina game that happened on March 30th, the Winnipeg Jets game that happened on Friday, March 31st, and then once again, the Toronto game that happened Sunday night. So for Red Wings news, Carter Mazur records his first AHL point, his first professional point as a Detroit Red Wing. And I don't know if you guys saw the little picture that he had drawn when he was a little kid. You know how like you draw like what you want to be when you grow up and everything like that. And it said like he wanted to be a Detroit Red Wing, and then being at like his hometown arena, like signing that contract. That's good stuff. That's the type of stuff you want to see. And I really cannot wait to see him in a Detroit Red Wing uniform. Leslie, I want to hear from you because I know that's your boy. So
those pictures are always so cute when you're like 8 years old and you're drawing what you want to be when you grow up. They don't always work, though, because I wanted to be an astronaut, and now I'm sitting here on a podcast with the 2 of you guys. But that's okay because that was my backup wish, so it's nice to have something to fall back on. But, yeah, I watched a few highlights. I didn't catch the whole game of his first Grand Rapids game, but from what I've seen, he is just such a prick out there. I mean, you can really draw from Marco Kasper's first game in the NHL. They have some very similar styles where they're guys that are going to chip in, kind of start the play in the offensive zone, and get into board battle, try your hardest to win that board battle, and really just play a great, solid two-way game. He did record an assist, and from the highlights that I saw, he must have had close to like 10 shots on goal because this kid is just snapping it around out there. I mean, I was surprised he didn't score. Some of those shots were like nasty. He's got a incredible release. I mean, he already has an NHL release, but you know, we'll see in the offseason if that's going to translate to not the North American, but the NHL game. He likely will probably have at least 1 year in the AHL, maybe just like half a year if he just really impresses and they just he forces the coach's hands, and they just need to play him in the lineup. But yeah, that's another guy that I think the fans should be excited about, and he's another guy we will be looking for in training camp to make the roster come October, right? They debut in October. I think it's October. But anyways, yeah.
It would be mid-October.
There's a lot to be excited about with that kid. I mean, he's got a pro ready game just like Marco Kasper. I think both of them are going to shine as a Red Wing, whenever that may be.
And that is Matt's full in-depth analysis on Carter
I
Mazur.
know, I was like, how do you follow that one up?
I love it.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be carrying the episode today, boys, so that's okay.
Give us your insight. Well, other than Carter Mazur, William Wallander finally made his debut. Leslie, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Was that Sunday?
No,
as well.
I believe that was Saturday. I think I saw that when I was in Toledo, so I believe it was Saturday. He did not record a point, and I think in that particular game, the Griffins really had like a particularly bad loss to, I don't remember who they were playing. I think it was Iowa, but whoever it was not a great game for the Griffins. So I believe he was about -2 in that game. Yeah. But when I was watching, I watched one highlight. Maybe there was two out there, but that kid is so big. I don't know exactly how tall he is, but he's at least 6'4", maybe 6'5". That kid can skate like the wind. It's actually crazy. I mean, out of all our defensive prospects, I think he alone has the best skating out of all of them. And that's kind of an attribute that would make me consider him to be, a debut out of training camp as well this fall. We'll have to see with the offseason. I know for those European guys who have been playing on the bigger ice over there, it's a lot more of an adjustment to the smaller North American ice, more so than it is like the forwards that play over there. So I think he's going to have a little bit of an adjustment period, but that kid's skating is super, super impressive for a guy who I believe he's only 20. I don't think he's even 21 yet. So he is a very impressive prospect to watch, and I expect big things out of him.
I believe majority of what you said was correct, so I'll go along with it. Yes, he is 20 years old, and I mean, his skating is probably one of the best attributes that he has. I mentioned this as someone that I was like, yeah, he kind of reminds me of Jake Walman when it comes to his ability to move the puck, with his hands and just being able to elude the opponents away from what he's actually trying to do. So he's definitely got some nice skill work in there mixed in with his skating. And yeah, his shot too. He's got a really good shot. I wouldn't say it's elite by any means, but he's definitely got a shot. Something that he probably could work on a little bit more. But yeah, a good shot in general. Who else made their NHL debut? That would be Marco Kasper, like we said. But before we go deep into that, we will talk more about him once we discuss the game on Sunday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So let's go ahead and kind of just recap a little bit of the games before Sunday night, opening up with the Carolina Hurricanes against the Detroit Red Wings. If you guys remember, the Detroit Red Wings won that game. It was 3-2. They opened up the scoring with Dominic Kubalik. I believe that was in the first minute of the game, and he ripped that one pretty well from what I remember. I know that was just about 5 days ago, I think. And that was a great shot. By the second period, though, Carolina caught up. It was then 2-1 them. Dylan Larkin was able to then tie it. Chason gets another point. No surprise. Then by the third period, you're at this point, you're kind of just hoping that it's going to go into OT. But if you're a team tank like us, you were kind of hoping Frederik Andersen would give his team a little bone. I thought Andersen looked really bad. I have him on my fantasy team as well, and he didn't have that many shots on him. I believe that the Red Wings only had 22 shots on net. But the real hero in this whole entire game was not the fact that the Red Wings won, but the fact that Jake Walman won the game on a major clap bomb from the blue line with only 4 seconds left in the game.
I mean, that's all you need.
How do you guys feel about
all
this?
You need.
Jake Walman taking clap bombs from the blue line Derek, you can start first.
Exactly what we need from the Red Wings is just get shots on net like that, and it's even better the fact that it's Walman doing it at the very end there, and you can't really beat the fact that 4 seconds left in the game, he's going to win it for us like that. Okay. You're going to make a little bit of a splash around everyone. That's a great way to end a game like that. Oh. I barely remember it because obviously 5 days ago now, and we've watched 3 games now, but that ending was pretty much all I needed. Like, I don't care about the rest of the game. We got what we needed at the very end. Smash that boy right from the blue line. Oh, loved it.
A couple episodes ago, we talked about how is there really much to play for when it gets to the end of the season and, you know, you're kind of dwindling through it and you're watching your team slowly go down in the standings, trying to see if maybe we have an opportunity to get the number 1 pick, Connor Bedard. Oh, Magic Conch. But this is the type of stuff that you want to see that helps the team and the players get over that hump to give them reasons to keep playing and keep playing well. And we noticed that in the Toronto game as well, other than this game. I thought they looked pretty good. I mean, they didn't get as many shots as I thought that I would, or at least I would have wanted them to. But good on Jake Walman for just taking that shot, just like you said, Derek. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
Yeah,
Don't try to go back to me. I barely remember the game itself. It's been a long weekend, guys. I'm hanging in here right now.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. So go ahead, Leslie. You're the only one with a brain today. We might just have you just run the episode by yourself today.
This is the first time in a while that I have more brain cells than both of you put together. So I'm going to relish this moment. I'm glad that you mentioned fantasy, Zach. I would like to congratulate you on your win in our fantasy league. Where did we leave off with Walman? Yeah, it's really nice to see. Walman is just like one of those guys that, for whatever reason, he has the clutch gene inside of him. I mean, every goal that this guy scores, I think he's up to about 8 or 9 goals on the season. One of you could check that for me. But it seems like every goal that guy scores, it's in the biggest moment of the game. Where you saw that game against the Pens all the way back in, I believe that was in December. He had that overtime winner after they're down 4-0. And now we get the buzzer beater against Carolina, which a lot of people are considering them to be a Stanley Cup favorite, thinking they're going to go pretty far in the playoffs. I mean, they're still in the mix to win the Metro, so that's a very impressive win. That was one that we figured would just go to OT, and the Wings would try and win it, probably fizzle out. And Jake Walman, just like Greg Jennings, he put the team on his back, though, and he won the game single-handedly. So that was awesome to see.
Jake Walman, though, Leslie. Yeah, he's got 9 goals, 16 points in the season with 57 games played.
It's really nice to see him playing with more confidence. He's a really big part of this team, and when he can step up his game, that really helps the team immensely. He's a guy that was over in St. Louis, kind of buried on the depth chart, not getting a whole lot of big minutes, and this year he decided that he would just say, screw it, I'll bet on myself, see what I can get from the Wings. If it doesn't come from there, hopefully it's someone in the offseason. And they signed him to that 3-year deal. And ever since he's been signed, not only is he chipping in offense, that guy, I mean, you can just see from the Toronto game last night alone, he is all over people. He is such a pest, such a prick to play against. I mean, he was pretty much single-handedly shutting down like Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Michael Bunting, and we'll get to Bunting later. Jesus Christ. But it doesn't even matter who you put him on. I mean, he's going to shut people down regardless. So he's really one of those guys that was a diamond in the rough, maybe even sort of an afterthought in that trade for Nick Leddy. And he's been shining ever since he's been in the roster. So I love what I see from him. He's a great partner for Seider. And keep it up, buddy. I'd love to see more.
Yeah, no, 100%. I saw this tweet earlier. I wish I could give credit to whoever it was, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but they tweeted out that ever since Mo Seider, they said when it happened, so I'm not going to say when it did, but they said when Mo Seider switched partners to Jake Walman from Ben Sherratt, since then, Mo Seider has been on a 60-point pace for the season. We know that he's not going to get there. He just eclipsed the 40-point mark for the second time in his career. That's still good. I don't think that Seider's having a bad year.
I mean, if he wants to toss an extra 20 points this year, I won't tell him no. But
yeah, no, 100%. But I think that just shows just how good Jake Walman is. But it also screams just how bad Ben Sherratt is. But like we mentioned before, Ben Sherratt really hasn't looked that bad ever since being paired up with Ole Mata. If someone can tell me, I'm pretty sure that they're still paired up as we speak. Currently, even with Seider and Edvinsson coming into
I
the
believe
lineup,
you're right.
And Marco Kasper.
I think he goes even more than that. I think Sherratt has looked great ever since he's been on the right side. His game is still not risk-free. It's probably never going to be, just based on the kind of player he is. He's the offensive lineman of hockey. But, yeah, ever since he's been on the right side, I don't know if that's just, like, where he should be. I know he's been doing it kind of just to fill in ever since we lost Hronek, but he's definitely looked, I guess you could say, a lot less noticeable, which for a guy like him, that's a good thing. And part of that, I think, also does come with playing with Mata. Mata's just, like, a really reliable, solid, just, he doesn't have very many risks in his game. He doesn't make very many mistakes. And I think any D-man playing with him is really going to tighten up their game a lot, too. So I think moving forward, you would ideally want to get like a young guy, maybe in this draft, a right D prospect to just kind of develop on your own. But I think for the time being, for the rest of his contract, if they can and it makes sense, they should have him on the right side going forward.
But no, Leslie, you're right. And, before we go on to the next segment, you had some really good stuff there. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Nedeljkovic. He had 31 saves and 33 shots. That was his first win in a really long time. Kudos to him. I thought he looked really good this game. He really did stand on his head for a team that really didn't put up as many shots as they probably should have. And that seems to be the Red Wings storyline, though, is where they put up majority of their stuff towards the end of the game. But good on Ned for that. We'll keep on touching on Ned because he did play and win in Toronto's game as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, where there's not really much to speak on in this game because the Red Wings just looked like garbage, just straight garbage. I don't know what happened, but Winnipeg just came to play that game.
Just stuffed us.
The only goal scorers that you got from the Red Wings were in that.
They just stuffed us the whole game. I'm like, I literally turned it on. I got halfway through the third or second period, and I turned it off. I was like, I can't right now.
Yeah, you only got 2 goals towards the end of the game. Those came from David Perron, Larkin, Seider assisted on that, Joe Veleno, Matt Luff, and Adam Ernie assisted on that. Leslie, do you have anything you have to say on this game? Hellberg looked not good.
Does he ever?
Yeah, the whole team just looked bad. That's all I have. Leslie?
Yeah, I mean, the Red Wings sucked the whole time, and then it ended. The end. I don't really know. I mean, I think the only consolation you can have is now at the time of this recording, the Jets played the Devils last night, which also is a really, really good team. I think some people are considering them to be a Stanley Cup favorite. That's other people. That's not me talking. But, the Jets beat them 6-1. So I think the Jets are really just trying their damnedest to get into the playoffs because they're slipping out right now and Calgary is nipping at their heels. And I think they're just trying to find a second gear. And unfortunately, it came against the Red Wings. So, oh well, too bad.
It's a bad time together when your coach comes out saying in that third period, we're just trying to get our heads back together for Sunday's game. And not the game that they're playing right there. It's like, oh, you guys had that mentality. Okay, it was bad.
What can you even do at that point,
Well, Derek, I don't know about... Yeah, well, Derek, also in your playing career, I know that you didn't play to the level of NHL talent, but you gotta tell me that you can't lie on this, Derek, that playing Thursday and then having to travel to a completely different state and probably like a 4-hour plane ride the night after a game and then playing that next day in the same 24 hours. So 2 games in 24 hours span. You got to admit that that's pretty tough, right? So I feel for them in that regard, but 6-2.
No, that's just supposed to not be happening. This is supposed to be their careers. This is their job. They do this for 8 months out of the year. You just kind of get used to it at that point. I know jet lag's a thing, but I'm not going to say that you're going to lose 6-2 because of jet lag. Nah, That's just a bad game in general. But at least we had Sunday to look forward to.
I wouldn't call it because of that. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was because of jet lag, while that is playing a role into it. But the fact that they played their heart out the best that they could against a Carolina team, now going to a Winnipeg Jets home to play against them, I think that kind of added to it. So do you think that makes it any different than what you said?
I mean,
it's still their jobs. They still have to go out there and make it a little better.
We can see how they played against Carolina. So obviously we know they can continuously do that, even if it's a day after and they have to travel. They should still be able to do it because you know what they're doing? They're just sleeping all the way there. Like, you don't have anything else you're supposed to do at that point. You just go travel from one place to the other, then you play hockey from one, you play hockey at the other. That's it. You don't got to do anything else but sleep in between and eat a bunch of food. A lot of spaghetti. That's what I did.
Eat your spaghetti, like Derek said, spaghetti. And like he did. You become big and strong, and you forget your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On your way.
I think that was all the Mountain Dew I drank before the games, actually. A lot of Mountain Dew.
Oh my gotta stay caffeinated and hydrated.
Had to keep going.
So much is explained from that alone.
Could have just used smelling salts.
Yeah, we didn't have those in high school.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I think we did. We just didn't have that many.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and talk about
one smelling salt per player.
Okay, let's move on to the game that had no Leslie, no more. Let's move on to the game on Sunday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, where the Red Wings ended up winning 5-2, and everyone's lovely captain Dylan Larkin records a Hattie
in front of the fan.
Your boy, the captain, the money maker. He scored in every direction that you could possibly think of. He had snipes. He was in front of the net.
Yeah, 5-hole.
What was the last one?
He didn't get the Perron, Little Leaf. Daddy Perron guided that bad boy down for him just so he can get that hat trick.
Yeah. So did Perron actually touch that puck?
I don't think he did because they looked it over a few times at the end just to make sure if he entered in it. And it looks like he just
there's so many bodies in the way it could have hit up a Toronto player,
making sure no one touched it from behind.
But I don't know. I mean, Perron was just like, listen, I just got one. I want you to have one too. Go ahead, Larkin.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. That's but good on Larkin, you know. Overall, just a really great game. But the main story of this game, honestly, was Marco Kasper. It probably would still be Seider and Edvinsson, who also played in this game. But the biggest news of this game, other than Marco Kasper, was the fact that he had the 2019 first-round draft pick, the 2020 first-round draft pick, 21 first-round draft pick, and the 22 first-round draft pick from the Detroit Red Wings playing in the same game together that night. Future.
I mean, it was a good setup, that's for sure. You can't argue the results of that game out there. It was beautiful. And Kasper did great for his first NHL debut out there. Didn't do too much, didn't do too little. He was on the offense, he was on the defense. He may have slightly accidentally covered the puck, but you know, he'll learn. You just can't do that in this league. No, it's okay. Live and learn. They didn't score. Ned stopped them. We're good. All around solid game for him for his first time in the NHL, making the switch over. I liked it. Really good job for him.
I thought he played amazingly well, minus the penalty shot that he gave up. You know, like you said, Derek, he will learn. No, I thought he played really well. He played with an edge in his game. You know, it's not any different than what he showed over in Sweden. You know, if you ever got the opportunity to catch some games online, for those of you that know, there are ways. You got to find them. And I could argue a little bit that he's probably still got that playoff mode inside of him. I think that was partially a reason why Steve Yzerman was like, hey, let's just make you make the jump. I think your playoff style could fit in well with today's NHL, it being, you know, the end of the season. And then once you get in these couple games, you'll know what to do in training camp and you'll be ready for next year. I think that's exactly why they brought him up. And you're right, Derek. Yes, he looked amazing. I think he looked really good. He was not afraid to get in people's faces. He did it. He got in a couple scrums.
Oh, he forced that body of his really well out there. I mean, at 195 pounds, 6'1", 18-year-old, you might as well use that body while you got it right now, man.
Yeah. Leslie, what do you think about the kid, the friendly ghost, Marco Kasper?
You know, a lot of people out there like to harp on the Red Wings for pretty much every season. They win a few games at the end of the season, a few meaningless games, and it drives down the percentage of first overall. And everyone goes, oh no, you should have lost all those games, man. Why'd you win all those games? Now we have 4.5% chance to get overall instead of 5.75% chance. It is so refreshing to watch a game at the end of the season. I think this is game 75 or 76 of the season. I don't even really know. But it was such a nice breath of fresh air to watch a game at the end of the season. And we have all 4 of our first-round picks from Yzerman's tenure. Simon Edvinsson, Kasper, Seider, and Raymond, all on the ice. And you know what else was even better than that? They all got in a fight. They all literally went over to the other team, which I think most fans will agree that Toronto is a much better team than Detroit. It's not really a crazy take to say that. They really just completely manhandled them. I mean, of course, the shots were 20 more in favor of Toronto, but Toronto also definitely failed the punk test that the Red Wings gave them. I mean, you saw Michael Bunting, who just embellishes after every call. I think it was the Walman hit from behind that he was embellishing a little bit, and then the scrum started on the boards. This was all towards the end of the second period, and everyone got in there, and there was that hilarious clip of Michael Bunting chirping the entire team, and Edvinsson and Seider are just backing him down. Literally, it's like Michael Bunting is the drunk asshole at the library, and he just wants to get back in there and, find his friends. He wants to talk to those girls that he's been trying to hit up all night. And Edvinsson and Seider are the bouncers, kicking him out and taking his fake ID. That's exactly what that reminded me of. That felt so good to see. And it's really a window into not only next season, but hopefully many more seasons to come. I mean, that really felt like the first game of the new era of the Red Wings. So that was just tremendous to see. And of course, it was a 5-2 win against one of the better teams in the NHL. So that's a nice little added cherry on top of that too. But yeah, as far as Marco Kasper, who was the focus of this episode, in his first game, he really didn't look out of place at all. I really, really love his game. He is such a gritty forward who will just go to the dirty areas to try and score. He's going to get in board battles, and he's probably not going to win a whole lot of them right now, but that's just because he's still a kid. He's got a lot more growth to not only his game, but, his size in general, which I think will be a focus for the Red Wings in the offseason. He wasn't super productive, which, in your first NHL game, you've been playing in Europe for, the whole season, basically, so that's not a very productive league over there, so it's really going to take a couple games to get under his feet for him to really find his production at the NHL level. But yeah, what I saw from him, he didn't look out of place at all. And I think he might have a little nagging injury right now. And otherwise, if he didn't have that, I would think he'd be playing the rest of the games this year. And it just goes to show the confidence that the organization has in this guy. I mean, he's not even starting off in Grand Rapids like Wallander is and Carter Mazur is. I mean, they have that much faith in him, and their faith has not gone misplaced. I mean, you've seen it from the game. His game is that's what the NHL game should look like. And it'll get better and better and better as time goes on, and he gets stronger and smarter and faster. So it was thrilling, honestly. I mean, I felt emotions during that game that I haven't felt for maybe 7 or 8 years. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, that is what
was one of those feelings. Hope.
That's exactly what it is. I forgot what that felt like. I couldn't even put my finger on that emotion. So thank you, Derek. But that was just, I'm not kidding when I tell you guys, that was like looking at the next 8 to 10 years of Detroit Red Wings hockey right there. And it was very exciting. And it's not that's even just a sneak peek, because that was still no Wallander. That was still no Carter Mazur. We can throw Lombardi in there. I mean, that's still an unknown. And, of course, whatever pick we get in this year's draft, that's just a little sneak peek of it. And if that's how good just a little, like, portion of that next era is going to be, man, we got some fun things to look forward to. So that is what a team that is coming out of a rebuild should look like. Like, it felt like the reinforcements arrived at the end of the season, rather than the team just being down and dejected and just really, like, running with 2.5 wheels, so to speak. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very exciting into the season. I understand why some people want them to lose every game. I mean, it's still, a lot of things have to go right and a lot of things have to go wrong in a certain sense for that to even happen. But I don't know. If this is how the season is going to end, I'd like to see them go down fighting, which it looks like they're doing.
I mean, ending on a high note, that's exactly what we need, especially because we know we're not going to go into the playoffs this year. It's pretty much a done deal that for us. So might as well get our hopes up, start actually rebuilding, start producing, showing what our players can do that we're bringing up. We just gave a bunch of entry-level contracts out. Might as well see what these players can do. Well, obviously don't want to waste any of the first years if we don't have to, but at the same time, at least we get to see a little sneak peek, like Leslie said, of what's to come for what we actually have.
Yeah, I don't know if COVID played a key part of this, but this season, or at least the ending of this season, is a little different, right? Like, we not only, or I guess just the whole entire season in general is different than all the other seasons. And what do I mean by that is, well, last season you had Seider and Raymond. That was it. Okay. Not saying that wasn't good, but that's great. You know, you had those great young players coming up and they established themselves. You get to see them for year 2. And I'll throw in there, you know, you have Veleno. You know, he's on there. But then you throw in Janitz and Bergeron, who didn't get the start with the team at the beginning of the season. He joins the team midway through. You got him. And then all of a sudden you start bringing Simon Edvinsson. Then you start bringing Marco Kasper. We didn't have... I remember when the rebuild really started happening, and even 2 years into the rebuild, everyone was always saying, you might as well just throw the young kids out there. Just bring up all your young prospects. Aren't they good? We didn't have these kinds of prospects that long ago, 5 years ago. This is completely different. You're right. We are now, what we were saying 5 years ago, 7 years ago, we're finally here. We are witnessing it. We are seeing, I can't wait for the stars of the future. They're very much right here. They're very much in grasp of us. Like, if it's not the end of this season, it's going to be the start of next season, and the end of next season is when, you can insert those Lombardis, you can insert those Carter Mazurs, those Wallanders. It's coming, and it's going to come quicker than I think people realize. But at the same token, we have to keep telling ourselves that we can't fixate on one of these, maybe even all of them you can say it with, because you don't know what's going to happen with them. Like we keep saying, left-handed D, we have a lot of them right now, so don't get too close to those guys. Simon Edvinsson, I can't imagine he gets traded unless, God forbid, somehow, someone beats him out, which is a good thing, right? That's not necessarily anything that's bad. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, my internet's trash. I'm sorry, everybody. And I'm sorry if I just blew your eardrums off, because my thing's turned all the way up. There we go.
You're still good.
It's okay. We still love you, buddy. No, I was just, I'm not sure if you were able to hear me, but I was just pretty much just going over, stuff.
I like stuff.
So welcome back. Yeah, this is a messy episode for all y'all that haven't been paying attention yet. So, like I said, the haziness and the fogness from the weekend is still catching on to us. But no, like I said, it's very much here, and it's close. It really is coming close. Marco Kasper, he established himself with 15 minutes of ice time. It was under, by 1 second, so 14:59, whatever it was. He had one shot on goal, and I'm pretty sure that one shot on goal was when the puck, went above the net or something, and then he was in the blue paint with the goalie. The goalie had to do the butterfly or the snow angel position. So he almost scored. That was good to see. He loves getting in front of the net. You'd love to see that. We need another Michael Rasmussen. He also had 3 hits this game. So yeah, he's not afraid to go out there and hit people either. So for someone who's 6'1", how much did you say he weighed, Derek? 190 pounds? 95?
I believe he is. Big boy.
Keep throwing that weight out there, boy. Keep doing that. That's the stuff that we like to see. So, and I mentioned in the last episode, too, that, and I think this was before he was recalled to the Detroit Red Wings from Rogla, technically, because that's how it worked. I said that he, out of all the 3 prospects, Mazur, Wallander, and Kasper's playing style would
translate best in the
how
NHL.
do I want to say this?
Would transfer over the best from the other league.
It would right now. It translates the best right now to the NHL based on his hard-nosed style of play that he brought, and he plays defensively well. So I think that that's kind of what he was trying to do in this first game was, I'll let the opportunities come to me as long as I play the good defense like I'm supposed to as the 2C. So it wasn't any different than what we see from Andrew Copp. It really wasn't. Maybe just a little more grit. So I'll take that. Nothing against Andrew Copp.
I think also part of what translates this game best to the NHL is when he was playing over in Rogla in the SHL, that's also a men's league. So he's already got experience playing against guys who are more mature than him, bigger, stronger, maybe not more skilled, but they're just more used to, they have more experience playing hockey in general. So I think that's also what really helps. And man, this season really the difference in this season really going all the way back to, I guess, whenever the rebuild started, which a lot of people have different opinions on, about 16-17 season. This was the first season in a long time where we're at the end, and I'm excited to tune into Wings games. I can't wait for tomorrow's game.
Go again.
Because I want to see if Edvinsson's playing, what can he do? If Kasper's playing, what can he do? It has me finding a reason to tune in and give my attention to the Red Wings, where usually around this time, I don't catch all the games because I know we're not going to be in the playoffs, or we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I mean, of course, this team, they're not mathematically eliminated yet, but we all know it's not going to happen. But the way this team looks, I guess excluding the Winnipeg game, before I say this, I'll exclude that game, but the way this team has looked at pretty much the end of the season through that stretch, they look like they are already playing playoff games. Their style is already playing playoff games. So I don't know if that's to say they deserve to be in the playoffs. Clearly they don't, because they didn't do well enough. But it definitely gives you a really good, warm, fuzzy feeling inside for next season, right? This is kind of just a glimpse into what you can expect. So I think next season, I'm not going to say playoffs are bust next season, but it really looks like next season with all these kids that are coming up and whatever additions are made in the offseason, if or when we get Bedard on the team, I think playoffs are within reach next year. So it's really, really good to see.
Magic conch.
Please get us Bedard. That's all.
And of course, we'll talk more about prospects in the offseason. And right after the draft lottery, we're really going to have a better idea of who we can actually go out and get. And we've said it on every episode. There's so much talent up and down this draft. It's really one of the deepest drafts we've had in years.
Well, it's probably going to be one of the best drafts that we've watched in a long time, and we should all get together for this one because I'm super excited to see what is actually going to happen and who we're going to get.
Without a doubt. it's going to be interesting to see where we end up, come the first week of May. I don't know. I feel like after this season, I have a lot of faith in Yzerman. I think after just not even really his time here in Detroit, but also in Tampa too, we know what kind of player he wants to go for. And Mickey Redmond even said this after the Red Wings game on the Red Wings live broadcast, that above all else, ignoring skill, which skill, obviously you want to get the most skilled player at that position, but other than skill, you draft on head and heart. That's what Yzerman wants. He wants guys that will compete on every shift, run through a brick wall for the team, and they're smart, and they're strong and big. Like, we know that's what he wants, That's why he drafted Marco Kasper. His compete is through the roof. That's why I drafted Seider and Edvinsson. They can go for days, and they're absolute menaces to play against on the ice. They are nasty players. And that's really the mold that Yzerman wants. And that's what you need. You want to develop those players when they're young, and they have that in their game, because when it comes for playoff time, and this team is not only competing for the playoffs, but ideally going on cup runs, you need guys like that. You need guys that will go out, score a goal, punch you in the face. You need big defensemen that are just, you're pooping your pants when you're playing against them. And not only are they big and intimidating, they can chip in offense too. And you see that with Edvinsson and Seider. That's exactly what you want on the team, and that's what Yzerman is going out and getting. So that is really what you can look forward to in the draft, no matter where the Red Wings are going to be. And I guess that's a topic for the future. But yeah, this last stretch of games, I think not only myself, but some of our audience members and Red Wings fans around the country and the world, they're going to be watching and see what these young kids can do, because this is a little window into just the next era of Detroit Red Wings hockey. And that's why it's just so exciting to watch at the end of the season. This team is just, I know, I'm sorry, I was about to cut you off, but this team at the end of the season, it's very clear that they're not just laying down and dying. They're going down, but they're taking you with them.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that, right? Like, the players aren't giving up. They don't want to. They want a reason to keep playing. They want to win. They don't want to do it like in seasons past where they didn't have anything to play for, and they very much do. A lot of these players don't have contracts, and a lot of these young players are looking to gain spots for next season. So Yzerman doesn't come in and try to bring people from outside to take those spots. So, no, you're right. There's definitely reasons to watch out for. But in a game like this, I mean, against Toronto, I mean, I don't know if you watched that part where they were interviewing Marco's dad, but he was asked, about his son, and he talked about the other team. And he was like, it looks like Toronto Maple Leafs took a step back because they're already secured in a playoff spot. And it's like, Carolina kind of looked like the same thing too. But granted, I know that, actually, I didn't know this until they started playing. Svechnikov wasn't playing that game. They have a whole bunch of injuries. I guess Marner didn't play in the game on Sunday as well either, so they weren't fully healthy, but still, and then they lost Bunting that game, so we still have to talk about that. We didn't really talk about that, but I want to go over the goal scorers real quick in this game. Ole Mata started off really early for us, the first minute and a half in. Then the Maple Leafs tied it back up, and that's pretty much when the Red Wings just said, okay, well, it's our turn. Jan Tinbergen scored. Then towards the end of the period, Dylan Larkin scores for his 29th. Dylan Larkin gets his 30th. Great to see that. That's the second time getting 30 goals. And then he gets the empty netter for 31. I think Dylan Larkin can get 35 goals this season. I think that there's still time. But let me go over the assists as well. Robert Hagg, Raymond got one. Kubalik and Mata got an assist. Sherrod and Seider got an assist. And Walman got an assist. And I was looking at the team in general stats. Raymond has 40 points this season. I know too many, or I should say it like this, is that not too many Toronto fans are happy with Lucas Raymond because of the blown out tire that he took and took out the goaltender for Toronto. But I do know that a lot of Red Wings fans also aren't too happy with Lucas Raymond because he isn't better than last season. I'm assuming that that's just what people thought that you were getting with the 4th overall pick, that, you know, you were drafted this early, so assured you would just be better every year, right?
It's a sophomore slump. I mean, he's really not the first player in NHL history who's had a sophomore slump. I mean, I remember Larkin's was worse than this. And he was playing an arguably a better... I mean, they actually were a better team back then in this sophomore season. So it's just the fact that, you know, number one, he's a young player in the NHL. I think he just turned 21. So, you know, he's still very young. He has all the skill in the world, but he's a young guy. His game is still developing, and it's going to get there eventually. I mean, he's already at NHL level. Like, he wouldn't be playing a full season on the team if he wasn't at NHL level. They wouldn't have had him come right out of camp next year if he wasn't NHL level. So all this talk about him, I mean, I've heard some guys want to trade him at this point. That would just be the dumbest thing you could ever possibly do. Like, one of your young, bright forwards, one of your big pieces of the future, you're going to trade him? Come on, that's ridiculous. But yeah, that's not to say that this is not a good season for him. I think that's pretty clear that this is not the season that not only us, but he would want for himself. And I think he just needs to focus on whatever the staff tells him in the offseason. I'd like to see him work on his shot a little bit and, you know, bulk up a little bit too, because he is still on the smaller side. And you really just need to be big and strong. I mean, you actually don't really need to be big anymore, but you do need to be strong to play in the NHL. It's a very physical league. So that, I think, is probably the priority in the offseason for him. But, I mean, guys, he's 21 years old. He's going to bounce back. Like, I understand.
Yeah, you got to give the kid a break.
Yeah, you got to come a break. I mean, like, I get it. Stützle's the guy before him. I think he's almost at 40 goals. Whatever. We missed out on Stützle. Whatever. We got Raymond. He's going to be a really good hockey player, too. So, cut it out. Stop being silly.
Yeah, there's plenty of time for him to develop into the player that we hope that he can be. I know that everyone has different expectations for him, but the real expectation is the one that he places on himself and what Yzerman and Lalonde have for him and what he can, if he can reach that level. So hopefully he can. If it's a 60-point guy, all right, he's a 60-point guy. If it's 70, 80, 90, okay, cool. Whatever he can do to help out this team, that's what we need. That's just literally what we need, and we'll take anything that we can get. But the other bright spot in this game, other than Marco Kasper as well, I would say that Alex Nedeljkovic once again had himself one hell of a game. Leslie, you were even saying in our group chat that that is someone that you would re-sign to be a backup goaltender. He had a 43-save game. He only let in 2 goals, 43 saves. That's ridiculous for someone who literally spent more than half the year in Grand Rapids, basically. So, what do you think about that, bud?
Yeah, I mean, in Ned's case, it's not only just the fact that I think he's done enough to be deserved to be re-signed to a short-term deal.
Well, I just lost everyone on my podcast. Looks like it's just me. I think that there's a pretty bad storm going on, so I guess it's just me to close it out with everyone. Thanks for sticking around. If you guys have made it this long, we do apologize for all the issues that are going on. I just want to go ahead and finish it out. Like I said, Ned finished out with 43 saves on 45 shots. Overall, that was a really good Red Wings win. I was asking Leslie if that is a player that he would re-sign, like he said in our group chat. He said that he would. I will consider it, considering that there really isn't anything on the free agent market right now, or at least going into the season. So, yeah, I would re-sign Nedeljkovic, but I probably would still go out and try to re-sign someone else if it isn't Hellberg. Because honestly, having the 3 goalies duke it out to see who's going to be the backup, that's good competition that you need for a Red Wings team like this, trying to make that extra push. You need everyone in the organization to be not only competing against the other teams, but with themselves inside the organization. That's just going to make you even better. I was going to go over a article with you guys. You know what? I'll just go ahead and do it. So on The Athletic, Shayna Goldman and Dom Luciasin, I can't pronounce your last name, Dom, so I apologize. And they came out with updated Detroit Red Wings player cards. I just want to touch on a few of you. For those of you guys that don't know some of these, they kind of just touch on all the players on one team, majority of the players at least, the more important ones, I guess I can say it like that, and kind of break down, what their salary is, their market value, and then he breaks it down if that value fits based on a bunch of different stats like ice time, goals, assists, points, stuff like that. So Dylan Larkin, for an example, his salary is $6.1 million this season. His market value for the season would be $9.2 million. So the Red Wings had a really good asset based on that signing of $6.1 million, and Larkin brought back $9.2 million in assets by doing that. So that was great to see. And for someone like Lucas Raymond, we just talked about him, how he's kind of having a sophomore slump. But still, at an ELC contract, his market value technically for the way he's been playing is $2.4 million. So that's good. Then you got a player like David Perron, who you have him signed at $4.8 million. His market value is $6.3. Now let's go ahead and see if I can find a bad one. Andrew Copp, salary $5.6 million, market value $3 million. The Red Wings are technically losing some money on that deal by doing that. So the return that Andrew Copp has given the Red Wings in the season does not add up well to that contract that we are giving him. Let's see here. Then you also have, let's see if we can find Robbie Fabry. Has a salary of $4 million. His market value comes in at $2.9 million. I can't really diss on Robbie Fabry only because he was injured for a decent chunk of the season. So let's go ahead and pick on Ben Sherratt. His salary is $4.8 million. He comes in at a market value of $1.1 million. So that's a real big hurt, big ouch for us, to be honest. This one, I don't really see how this one makes any sense. Salary for Ville Husso is $4.8 million, market value, league minimum. That's, in my opinion, I think that's wrong. Obviously, Shayna and Dom have other ideas. They are a little more experts about this kind of stuff than I am, but it's just based on their model that they use to assess these player cards and their models. So, yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, that's on The Athletic. If you will need a subscription, it is not free, so I highly recommend it. I think it's a great subscription that you can get. But in other news, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. The Red Wings did jump up, unfortunately. They are now in the, 11th spot. They have moved up. I believe that's 3 spots now since the last episode that we recorded, guys. So, yeah. Right above them, you got Ottawa with 80 points, Buffalo with 81. Then below, you got St. Louis with 77, who's tied with us in points. We are in a 3-way tie for points with St. Louis and Washington. We just have the better points percentage. We are still over 500. We are 507, while St. Louis and Washington are 500. Then you got Vancouver at 75 points, Philadelphia at 71, and Arizona 67, Montreal 66. And I'll stop there because I don't see San Jose climbing up, but they have been winning a little bit. These 4 teams, San Jose, Columbus, Anaheim, Chicago. Who's going to get the number 1 overall pick? Or I guess I should ask it this way. Who wants to be the last place team in the whole entire league? Because as you Red Wings fans know that are watching, wherever you are, know that the draft lottery is not fair to anyone. So let's go ahead and close it up there. Thanks again, guys. Thank you once again for joining us on another episode of Hockeytown University. For those of you who are new, thank you for joining in. And as always, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That really does help us out. Smashing the like button really does go a long way. We always like to try to make our videos get anywhere between the 10 to 15 likes. So if we can get that going, that really does put us out there. So thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Hockeytown University. I'm sorry I can't close out with Derek and Leslie. I don't know where they went, but as always, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, see you guys later. Go Red Wings.